In other news, we are following closely the new developments that we all woke up to. The news that Haiti's president Jovenel Moïse was assassinated. He was assassinated in his home outside of Port-au-Prince, and his wife was also injured. And this is amid a lot that's going on politically, the political unrest that's happening there, for people calling for Jovenel Moïse to step down and to stand down, people calling out U.S.'s president for partnering with Jovenel Moïse after saying that U.S. would actually take on the people and what they wanted. And also in that sense, just yesterday, Jovenel Moïse had actually elected a prime minister. And all of this is a shock to many Haitians, and it's a lot of questions are arising. Again, like I said, this happened just after Jovenel Moïse had elected a prime minister. So here are some updates. It looks like the assailants claim to be agents with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. And this is according to videos taken by people in the area of the president's home. Moïse, who was 53, who lived in a neighborhood just above the hills in the capital, Port-au-Prince. On the video, someone with an American accent is heard yelling in English over a megaphone, DEA operation, everybody stand down, DEA operation, everybody back up and stand down. And again, this is according to the Miami Herald. This is the latest that they have. They say that one of whom the assailants were, who spoke English, were indeed not with the DEA. So this particular assailant, who can be heard on video with an English accent. And so right now things are still developing. Residents reported hearing high-powered rounds fired with precision and seeing men dressed in black running through the neighborhoods. And there are also reports of grenades being thrown and going off. So, and drones also being used. So all of this is just news coming out. And again, this is being reported by the Miami Herald, by Jacqueline Charles of the Miami Herald. There's so much going on within the country of Haiti. This news itself is not what we called for when we asked for Jovenel Moïse to stand down. We don't know all of the information surrounding it, but these are the facts. It's very sad, though. It's very sad that it had to come to this, an assassination of the president. So there are many people going around and putting out news saying that it was Spanish-speaking people who were also there. But again, these are what we do know is what I just told you. Now, a lot of other people, eyewitnesses, are saying there were Spanish speakers there. They were white Spanish speakers, and they were there. They were the assailants, but that is not confirmed information. This is very sad. Now, I was one of the people who said that Jovenel needs to stand down, right? Or he needs to listen to the people, and they need to start moving forward with other leadership in another direction. I still stand on that, but having the president assassinated, the president being assassinated, him and his wife. Now, that to me is not the way. That to me is not the way. That isn't right. And as we are getting more information, it still hurts my heart, that this man was murdered. This man was assassinated. And under Haiti right now, the political unrest, the things that are happening with the government, the things that are happening with the people, the lack of a lot of things that are happening. It's a lot. This is not going to be good for Haiti. And as we go through the day, you'll see what will start to happen in the streets of Haiti. There are going to be more protests, I believe, with everything in me. There are going to be people shaken. There are going to be people on the other side of it. It's going to be a lot more that happens. So my prayers are with Moïse's family, and especially with the people of Haiti who can't afford any more pain and suffering in this moment. So as we again get news, and as this news continues to develop, we'll give you more on it. But again, Haiti. It's just, I don't know. Haiti deserves a lot more, much better. And whoever is a part of this, the key thing that I think that for me, because we don't want to be a part of the conspiracy theories, we don't have all the information, all the puzzle pieces together. Now, I do know that a lot of the news that I'm hearing, when I heard that in the mainstream, like my parents and them got it first. They knew that the wife had died hours before that the news had brought it out here. And that's because they have people on the streets who are talking, people who are working in the hospital, things like that. So as the news does begin to develop, we'll definitely bring it to you. My heart is with Haiti. This, to me, isn't the way. Assassinating the president isn't the way. And it's very interesting, again, that it comes right after just things like him electing a prime minister. The next day, he's assassinated. His wife is also killed. And I believe that's because she saw who the assailants were. And for it to be on video, and for a key thing to be that one of them was an American speaker with an American accent, who talked about being a part of the DEA. Yeah. And indeed was not. So it's very painful. Assassination, you guys. Assassination. Yeah. Assassination.
Yeah, excuse me. That's crazy. And I wanted to ask a question real quick, maybe for Rebecca and Ben. I mean, I know they said DEA involvement, but honestly, y'all, when would DEA announce themselves if they're doing a raid?
They wouldn't.
They wouldn't. And this is, again,
it's so crazy.
It is crazy. And this is in Haiti, right? So it makes it sound legit. And so for them, it'll make it sound like, okay, is this possible or whatever? But people aren't stupid. We know how corrupt the government is in Haiti. We know that a lot, and I've said this before on the show, there have been partnerships with people in other governments. There have been partnerships with people, and what they'll do is they'll assign a lot of people who are a part of gangs to go and push forward to do these things and put the blood on so that the blood isn't on their hands. And so the reason I believe that this was because they have something in mind, and we'll see, like I said, as this begins to develop, we're going to see exactly what comes into play, because it's just, to me, for me, in my personal opinion, it is very interesting that this comes right on the heels of him having a fresh prime minister, and the leadership that's going to change, and who's going to be in that place interim, and knowing that there are people who are right amongst him, because if you're the president and there's security, how easy is it for them to get access?
Let's talk about that.
The people that wanted access to him before couldn't get it, right? But all of a sudden, on a random night, right after he did what he, elected as prime minister, there's Operation No Security. It's open, and then all the world is talking about white Spanish speakers, and then one guy with an American accent. It's just very eerie to me, the corruption, the access that they had to this man while he's one of the highly protected officials in the country, in the island country. It doesn't make any sense to me. And we know, my parents have been talking about it for years. I've been talking about it. As beautiful as my motherland is, the only thing we know when it comes to our government, we know when it comes to politics in that country, it's very shady. The police themselves will partner with gangs in the streets and supply them with guns. The government themselves will partner with gangs in the streets and supply them with guns. People in places where they don't got food, but they have guns. Okay, and then we'll turn around and say, "Oh, the country is bad. There's so many of this, there's so many of that." And the governments that supply them with guns sometimes aren't even the Haitian government. There are governments from other partnering countries. And it's to keep Haiti in this particular turmoil, so that they can continue to do what they're doing, funnel whatever they need to funnel through the country, get people in a powerful position that they've promised. If they, all kinds of things are going on within the country. And I believe that Jovenel Moïse has been caught in the crossfire of all of that.
The complexities of this one is the complexities are fascinating. But I do want to start first with the fact that how many black men do we see assassinated on the global stage? No matter what position, where we stand, because as Sister Azor made very clear, we understood the side of the people in the conversation, and that President Moïse was not on the side of the people. We understand that complexity, but then you also have to understand that this globe has a history of gunning down black people, not just black men, black people, and doing it through an assassination. To what end and for whose benefit? To what end and for whose benefit? Because I've rarely seen, Rebecca and James, I've rarely seen something good come out of violence. I don't see how this will lead to something good for the people, because while we don't know exactly who or what, we do know, at least we know it wasn't the DEA. Like, come on. I mean, that's a smoke and mirrors that we can all just kind of say, okay, we could toss that idea out, if for no other reason than the fact that he was backed by the United States. And so you're right. We don't have all the information. There's so many things about this story that we don't have. But I do appreciate the fact that, Rebecca, you're getting coverage directly from Haiti, and that is from sources that we can trust versus sources that are going to interpret it based on what's in the best interest of the United States.
Yeah. And even how it's being, publicized now. It's honestly from this one-sided view. And if you literally go just to social media, the news and the developments and things like that, the voice of the people, how they're piecing it together, a lot like how Chuck Modi does when, mainstream media does one way, and Chuck Modi will get to the street and to the people, and they'll be the ones piecing together this information. That's why I went straight to Jacqueline Charles of Miami Herald, because she's a Haitian American who focuses on Haitian news. And of course, she's going to give it that way. If you go on to these other ones, they're not going to give you the accounts from the people and what they heard and the grenades, the possible grenades, and who they saw and what was the language being spoken and where's the video and things like that. You're not going to get all of that right now, because it's going to be kind of like padding it safely and delivering it. Because I believe, and this is my opinion, I believe that a lot of the partnerships to the corrupt system, the corrupt government in Haiti, it has a definite hand in this. So they're going to present this news as, it was just an assassination, but there's so much more to it. There's so much more behind the scenes. And I believe as, again, the people start to speak, we're going to be able to unpack what's really happening. But Ben, you said something, and that was that, the assassination of black men, black people around the globe. And the fact that it was just so easy for them to step in after all of this time, since they've been calling for this man to step down. And it is not until now, this particular moment, that he's assassinated. And he's now, his body is laying cold, yet the security presence is increased in front of his home. And, so it's very strange to me. I see this, but the tears that we're going to see from the government, trust me, are going to be crocodile. Okay. I believe that there is partnership in this man's assassination. I believe there was definitely information that was leaked or given to break in on this man and his wife. So again, to point out, it was not only Jovenel Moïse who was assassinated, but it was also the First Lady of Haiti, his wife, who died at the hospital from her gunshot wound. So
you don't assassinate a president without some help. It just doesn't happen.
Because they could have got to him a long time ago. The people wanted him. Okay, the people on the streets wanted him. Do you understand? People on the streets ain't scared. And people, what they got to lose in Haiti, right? That's how they see it. What do they have to lose in Haiti? But all of a sudden, his security presence couldn't stop what was going on last night. Very interesting.
Because if you think about it, think of the reaction. When I think of these situations, I always think, what is going to be the reaction? Everybody is going to dismiss the fact that the guy said we're with the DEA. Everybody dismisses that, right? Then the next thing is, so who did it? Well, very easily, this could be laid at the plight. This could be laid at the feet of the people who have been in opposition of Moïse. So what happens? What's the likely reaction here? The likely reaction is a crackdown on the people. Now, Rebecca, I want to ask you that because you know the politics there a lot better than I do. How is the government, the new prime minister who was just installed last night, and whoever's going to succeed and replace Moïse, how is the government likely to react if this somehow gets laid at the feet of the people who have been organizing against the president?
You're going to see how they frame it. It's going to be how they've been framing it. It's the, all this violence in the streets, the guns, da, da, da. They're going to frame it as if it's the people and not the government, right? And like I said, many times the government partners with people on the outside in other countries so that they can give these other countries what they need to continue to abuse Haiti and keep Haiti where it is, where they can utilize Haiti for its resources and then put out in the world that Haiti is just this third world country that ain't got no help, right? To keep it there. Because if you keep it there, we can continue to abuse it and use it. And then in that same sense, they're going to go out and say that it's the people that are the issue. The people can never get it together. This is going to be the thing that they put out instead of pointing the scope at the government. My question is, in which I want to see, what does this mean for Haiti in the next few days? And I don't even say the next few days. I mean in the next few moments, because I can guarantee you that as the sun is coming up, the people are in the streets already. There are a lot of people that are probably wailing, people that are confused, people that don't know, because this was not the way. Even though the people were outside protesting, they were protesting for a structure. Get him down. Let's figure out, listen to us, and let's put in a space and a position where we can choose a new leader. Give us the options to give you options, right? Give us that opportunity to give you options to put in somebody else to replace them. This was not the way. When the people who were actually protesting for a change, this was not what they were speaking about. They weren't speaking about assassinating. Yes, they will burn stuff down, but they were not speaking about the assassination of the president.
So this is not something they should at no point should any media narrative go out that suggests that this was something that was done on behalf of the people of Haiti. Mm-hmm.
But you will see as it begins to come. Because if you look on CNN right now, they're saying this comes on the heels of Haiti having political unrest, and they're not even able to agree to anything, basically forming like it's the people and the people who already didn't like them and the people. And here's the thing. Politically, we can all have a stance on something. It's okay for Haiti to say that this man just doesn't fit the position. We need somebody who's going to listen to us and hear us out. That's okay. That is okay. And it's okay for people to go out and protest about that. That is just fine. We do it every day here in America. So it's okay for them to go and protest about that. But because of the state in which Haiti is and how grave it is when it comes to the politics, they're going to definitely say, and how they've been pointing out that the gang violence has gone up, has shot up, and within the last year, especially with under COVID-19, and how they have lack of access to vaccines. They're going to put all of this out there, right? And they're not really going to focus on it literally being something that is within house. Okay, it's the partnerships that Haiti has with other governments, and this is because an assassination doesn't just happen like that.
Yeah.
And if it was from the people, it would have been happened. Trust me.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and you're talking about, I mean, like you're speaking very clearly to the fact that Haiti is still a recovering nation. I saw somebody on Twitter say, let's stop calling these nations developing nations when they're recovering from colonialism. Mm. They are recovering from what the colonizers did to them. And I'm looking at this scenario where this could easily be laid at the feet of the people, but when the clear culprit has always been colonial power and its remaining influence in Haiti. and the fact that that colonial power not only comes in the form of the United States, but also the fact that Haiti has this relationship, or France still has this exploitative relationship with the nation of Haiti. Rebecca?
I just we're still paying for that, like as we see that now, right? And it's, you know, and you see these this visual here, Jovenel must go, all these things. This is what they're going to put up, and it's going to help frame the conversation that it was the people. It was the people on the streets because they wanted him gone so bad. So it was them. And that's the thing. We can have an opinion. We can have a political opinion as the people of a country. We can say no more dictatorship. We can say stop partnering with the ops and listen to the people who live here in this country. And let's figure out how to benefit us while you are here as our leader. That can be a conversation that happens. But again, they're going to be posting up things and showing the bandits, the gang members out there with guns in particular locations, in particular places, and it's not the people, which they will frame. It's not the people that wanted a difference and wanted to change that killed this man. They just wanted him to stand down. The type of violence they'll burn stuff down, but they weren't calling for the assassination of that man. Okay. And I just want to make that clear. The people who were fighting for a difference were not calling for the assassination of that man. We have the latest as far as what America, our American government has said when it comes to Haiti, and I want us to take a look at what Jen Psaki had to say about it.
The Haitian president, Jovenel Moïse, assassinated overnight. What's the U.S. message to the people of Haiti, and what is the United States willing to do to keep that island stable?
Well, first, I would say the message to the people of Haiti is this is a tragic tragedy. It's a horrific crime, and we're so sorry for the loss that they are all suffering and going through, as many of them are waking up this morning and hearing this news. And we stand ready and stand by them to provide any assistance that's needed. This news is just coming out, as you know, John, overnight, so we're still gathering details, we're still gathering specifics, and of course, our embassy and State Department will be in close touch, but it's a tragedy. We stand with them, and it's important that people of Haiti know that.
And my question to her would be, and again, I know that this is still developing, but my question to Psaki would be the information that we gathered from whether there were Spanish speakers there, because that's what the Prime Minister said. And I did see that earlier this morning when I was looking for information. The Prime Minister made a statement saying that all that they know were that there were Spanish speakers. They can confirm there were Spanish speakers there. Now, like I said, Jacqueline Charles of the Miami Herald was able to report that on video, there was a person with an American accent who said that they were from the DEA. And so I would ask her who, did they get any information? Were they able to identify if this person, clearly with an American accent, who was saying they were from the DEA, trying to get access to the president, do they have any clue who that person is? Is there any more follow-up to that? Because that seems closely, since the person had an American accent, that definitely tells us that there was somebody possibly American as well who was a part of the situation. So, yeah.
Yeah, that question and answer was rather useless for the for the people of Haiti.
Because they have a lot to say when it comes to the politics, right? They got a lot to say. They go behind the scenes and utilize, I said, like the resources in Haiti. I say this all the time. You're there to use our resources. You're there to eat our food. You do vacations there. You take certain areas, now take it away from the Haitian people, make it a resort. And you guys definitely make money off of that. And so with all that being said, when it comes to the people, that vague, you guys have your foot on Haiti's necks. France does, all these European countries, and then as well as U.S. The partnerships that are there does not benefit the people of Haiti or the country itself.
Ooh,
but it takes and takes and takes and takes from it. But when something happens like this, here's the apology that you have. But there are things that need to be answered for, because there is information that's already out there that seems to be American related. So when you are speaking to the people, let them know that, hey, this person that supposedly was American there, there, we'll get you some more information on it, because if it indeed was, we definitely have to deal with it as it should be, and give the people of Haiti something to work with, because they know, I'm pretty sure they know something, because these accounts are coming from the people on the ground. But this apology, while you're still going to continue to abuse the country, is worthless. And I mean, I understand as a government, that's what, that's a thing to do, is to reach out and speak on the country state and apologize and give your condolences. I understand that is the thing to do. But honestly, this right here is very big. That man was assassinated, bruh.
Yeah.
The assassination of a president. We know how it feels here in America when we hear about JFK. That, the assassination of a president is not, it's a shocking feeling. And especially to me in Haiti, with Haiti going through what they're going through, and in this particular moment, not having any actual leadership. This is not the way that they said they wanted the leadership removed. This is not the way. They wanted it structured. They wanted the people to be heard. Again, I say this to be clear. They wanted the people to be heard. When they went out to protest, they wanted a system in place where people can be heard and they can put a leader in place. This was not the way. So then, because this happened, we're going to see things shift, but the benefit isn't going to be for the people. It's going to be for the government. It's going to be for the government. This is the last thing that Haiti needed. This is when I say Haiti, this is the last thing that the people of Haiti needed.
Bubba, I don't have your audio, Bubba, but you may be going out to the public. So just
Rebecca, can you hear me?
I can definitely hear you. Were you trying to talk, sweetheart?
Oh yeah, I was saying something. I think I was just muted to y'all, but that's my fear, is that I'm scared for the people, for the simple fact that they didn't need this. And like Rebecca and Ben said, it's scary because it almost looks like it's going to come back on the people. And now it's going to be more attacks and everything else on the people versus where it needs to be, their government. Because I really do feel this was an inside job.
Yeah.
Inside job with help from others. We'll just say others.
Yeah.